Happy 4th of July, you all. This video isn't to be complainy or anything like that. It's just to point out facts and the trajectory of where things are at right now. This isn't go for every single American woman. But what I've noticed is a lot of American women, not all, but most, just don't like men. I think that they're annoyed with men. I think that they are mad at us. I think that they're mad at their fathers. I think that they are disgusted in us. They get so much attention, not only in person, but maybe not being approached as much, but like they used to, but they get so much attention on the internet that it just they're annoyed with us. I've heard of different statistics where, like, I don't know, 80% of men, I don't know, maybe it's a large number, maybe it's 50% of men aren't getting any action. Maybe it's like 50% of men that are 18 to 32 are still virgins or something like that. Because women are pretty much sharing the same guys. High value guys. And what happens in the society when you have a large number of men that don't have a woman, they end up getting violent. But I think the reason why men aren't getting violent in this society is because, which some of them are, you know, you get some mass shootings, or you do have people that act out. But I'm talking about when you have a large number of your population not interacting with a woman, not having a woman in their life. Why aren't they acting out violently? Is because they have easy access to pornography. They play video games, and they pretty much are just numbing themselves of the situation. We have such a huge bubble of standards in this American society where men are expected to be this. It's just most men are not going to be this Superman type of individual where tall, make good money, have a high status job, really fit, and obviously the high value men who I describe are gonna get the best looking women, but a lot of women's egos, what I said a lot of times, they're hyperinflated because of all the attention that they get. So they think that their value is higher than it really is. They could be a 6 and they think that they're like 8 or a 10. So the average woman thinks that they're a 10 basically here in America because of all the attention she gets. And she probably should feel like that because of all the guys simping on her. It's just natural when you have all that attention. It's like, but if all that attention goes away, she stops getting the validation, she will definitely come back down to earth. And this is why I wish guys would actually wake up and stop giving women attention on the internet. Stop following them, stop liking them, stop liking all their posts. Don't comment, just leave them alone, and eventually something will happen. It's like, I just think that I think there's a lot on women's shoulders. So for instance, and I'm not a short guy, I'm like 5'11", so I'm right there on the cusp of 6 foot. So usually when I pass a woman, especially a young woman, they don't look at me. They don't look at me friendly with a smile. Maybe they're intimidated by me. Maybe they're disgusted by me. I don't know. But I think that there's a lot of stress that they're under, because of them having to take on all the responsibility of their life and be the only man in their life. And there's these red pill guys that are like, I only want young women, and they're in their 40s, which, whatever, but they think that these young women nowadays, because they have like a boomer take, they think that the young women now are kind of like young women from like 20 or 30 years ago, who actually respected themselves, generally speaking, and didn't have a high body count. Like these females, because with the women, I've been with a lot of women, and I've asked about when they lost their virginity and stuff like that. And generally speaking, it was probably around like 15, 16 years old. So given that promiscuity is acceptable, socially acceptable nowadays, I can't imagine how many guys, teenagers are with now. So these older boomer guys who are my age, I say they're boomer because they're out of touch. They think that they're getting some pure woman that's like 22. It's like, chances of that happening are slim to none. And I'm honestly like, I'm not even really attracted to young women. I mean, of course, like physically, but I just see the dollar signs. I just see like entitlement and attitude, dysfunction. And I don't want to deal with that. So even if I could, which I don't think I could even attract a 22-year-old. So even if I could, I just wouldn't want to put up with that. Just for what? Because I want to get intimate with her, and then what should be cool for a little while, but then it'll get boring. It's like buying a new car. It just kind of gets, when you're in a relationship, that excitement wears off. And the same with women continuously chasing the honeymoon experience in relationships. You know, guys complain that the women get bored or whatever, and then they just like try to find something else, and then they seek that excitement of something new. Well, same goes for guys. In a sexual thing nowadays. So, and that's why I don't hear people talking about. And then I hear the red pill people say, spin plates, you get laid, blah 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 blah. And then they sit here and complain about women, the degeneracy in women, but they don't look at themselves. You're perpetuating the cycle. You know, if you look at how women generally mirror men or mirror people, because if you look at them, they conform. They like to conform, mostly, generally speaking. Being acceptable. That's their human nature. So we have perpetuated this hookup culture, and made it. They just expounded on it. We're the leaders. We made this mess. So the way to fix it is to just leave women alone. But the problem is, these guys won't. Guys will not just leave women alone. So the problem is going to continue to get worse. It's so weird, like, I get up on my Snapchat, and I said this before, it's I don't even need to click on these females' pictures, like their stories or whatever, and I see they just post a selfie every day. I can see, like, this, it's like, we know what you look like. Every single day. And they're doing it because they get views. I guarantee you, if guys left women alone, they would stop doing that. They would have to, like, focus inward. Women don't have to focus inward. And that's what they really need to do at this point. I think that men need to focus inward and actually look at life, and maybe they were brought up not well, and try to fix that type of stuff. And you can, because I'm an example of being able to correct issues based off of the environment I was raised in. You know, you don't have to correct everything, and because nobody's perfect, but a lot of people nowadays, both sexes, have some major issues, and it's getting worse. They just weren't taught nothing. Just regular common sense things that you would think that people would know, they just don't know. And what's happening, if we continue down this path, is, what I see happening is, men are kind of going, a lot of men are alone right now, but eventually women will feel that. If we continue the development of artificial intelligence, women are going to be replaced. A lot of men are going to replace women with robots. It's not, you don't even have to have like a physical robot. I'm talking about like, a lot of people nowadays text each other. So with artificial intelligence getting better and better, you could just text that. Like I said, people are going to have more relationships. It's going to be normal in the future for people to have relationships with robots. And given the circumstances of women not really wanting men nowadays, the average man anyway, it's like they want the high status man or they want the degenerate. The guy that's like a criminal. He pushes drugs. You know who I'm talking about. He's always driving. He's always in the passenger seat. And she's driving. But they're gonna end up being alone because men are just gonna be like, what's the point? You are so much work, and VR is gonna get better and better. And at some point, with artificial intelligence being able to replicate stuff, what do you think that it's going to be able to do with adult content? It's going to be able to take anyone's picture on the internet, anyone's pictures. They're going to go, oh, you'll go to this profile. You go to this person's profile. It'll scan his body, her body. It'll scan her face, go through all those pictures on her that she's posted, and it's going to be able to replicate her naked. And it's going to be able to put her in a virtual world. This is going to be for anybody with stuff on the internet. You could take me, you could take my pictures and do that. The deep fakes, all that stuff. So men like variety, but to have a civilized society. So what happens in like chimpanzees type of deal, where you have the alpha male who gets all the women. The beta males end up gaining up on the alpha, killing him, and then they kill all the children, and then they finally get the women. So for the alpha men in this society, they have to understand, like, they're going to be a target potentially if technology doesn't progress to what I'm saying, to kind of numb men, to be able to take, make them content, to artificially replicate relations with the woman, because they're not getting real relations with a woman. They're going to be targets at some point from groups of pissed off beta male. And Jordan Peterson's talked about this, how they'll get violent. And it's I think that technology is gonna keep progressing. What I think is gonna happen, I think, is technology is gonna keep escalating to what I'm talking about. people will make the sexual experience more real and real for men. And it's kind of funny that women's toys are acceptable but men's aren't. At some point that's going to be flipped. At some point men will just leave women alone, and they're going to be alone. At some point they're just going to be alone. They're going to find themselves alone. And at that point they're going to have to look inward. Like their validation is going to dry up on the internet. They're not going to have no one in real life. And it's not gonna be good for them until they actually provide something more to a man besides sex, because that's like the number one thing that they are trying to provide for a man. It's not peace, it's not friendliness, it's not humbleness. It's just, man, I just look at the average American woman, right? And I just think, like, you're just not worth all that work, man. You're just not worth it. I don't even want to go on the interview to talk to you just to get to know you. I'd rather just play video games. And spend my time doing something else. And I just don't think that women are going to be able to go into that environment with artificial intelligence the way men will. Could be. They might excel in it. They might do better. Who knows? I just look at female nature, and I just don't think that they're going to do very well in that environment. And I think that their OnlyFans are going to dry up. It's like, why am I just donating money to this person when I can just keep my money for myself and then have the same experience with AI? Because these guys on OnlyFans are probably texting some guy or some girl that they want to be attracted to. They're not talking to the content creator. And then her content, her adult content, is going to be able to be replicated in so many different ways. Like, you're going to be able to take that female, like anybody, and put them in any type of scenario. You could be on Maui or something, or I don't know, whatever. You could be on the moon, you could be underwater, I don't know. But you could do whatever you want in the future. And this technology might take like 10 years, but it's coming. So they're on their money, the cash bag is gonna go down. They're not gonna be able to get a guy to wife them up, because what man's gonna wanna bring someone like that in their life and around their family, or want to have a kid with that type of a person when they got all that type of adult content? And you could say, well, if there's going to be the technology of recreating anybody and doing anything, I just think with that, they're probably going to put some type of watermark or something that it's AI generated. It's not authentic. With the deep fakes, they have to do something like that. So people know it's not real. Especially when you share it. Has to have a watermark. So you can't deceive people. So we definitely need regulation in that aspect. But women are going to get extremely upset. They're going to lose their jobs because AI is going to replace their jobs. And you're going to see a lot of women end up homeless or on welfare. Some type of UBI, and their standard of living is going to be horrible. It's not going to be very good. It could look like the scenario of the booming 20s to the Great Depression. That could be something what we see with women. Like highs and a boom to the lows, because this cannot continue. You will see, if women are annoyed by men and they don't like men and they're mad at men, they're going to continue to get more wicked on the internet, more entitled, talk crap to men, and then men are just going to end up being like, you're just a nasty person, man. Like, what? I'm not going to give you money anymore. And it's just going to happen more and more because they're going to get more and more angry. I don't know. We'll see.